When we hear about angels and demons, we automatically associate the former with good and the latter with evil. However, did you know that there are such angels that you would rather fate meet you with a demon? Moses himself turns to God with a prayer after his meeting with such an angel with the words, "Oh, may it be your will, my God and the God of my fathers, that you do not let me fall into the hands of this angel." Let's take a closer look at why Moses was so terrified. What do other religions say about these angels? Are they really that terrifying, or is it just that the work they are allocated to do is incommodious to us humans? In this video, we will explore some of the most terrifying angels by tracing their portrayal across religions. Please hit the like button and subscribe for my channel. Thanks. Azrael. Azrael is the angel of death. He is responsible for transporting the souls of the deceased after their death. In Islam and Judaism, it is said that he holds a scroll affecting the fate of mortals, inscribing and erasing their names at birth and death, respectively. Depending on the occasion and the religions, he is also depicted as an inhabitant of the third heaven, a subdivision of heaven in Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. In Islam, he is one of the four archangels and is identified with the Quranic Malak al-Maut, angel of death, which corresponds to the Hebrew term Malach ha-Mavet in rabbinic literature. In Hebrew, Azrael translates as angel of God or help from God. Let us trace the etymology of this image in Judaism. Archaeological finds found at Jewish settlements in Mesopotamia confirm that Azrael's name was indeed used in Aramaic incantation texts from the 7th century. However, since the text only lists names, it is not possible to say whether Azrael was associated with death before the advent of Islam. After the advent of Islam, the name Azrael became popular in Jewish and Islamic literature as well as in folklore. However, he does not act independently but is only informed by God when the time comes to take the soul. In the Quran and their exegesis, Surah 32:11 speaks of an angel of death identified with Azrael. When the unbelievers in hell cry out for help, an angel will appear on the horizon and tell them that they have to stay. Other verses of the Quran speak of many angels of death. According to exegesis, these verses refer to lesser angels of death subordinate to Azrael. They assist the archangel in the performance of his duties. Tafsir al-Baydawi mentions a host of angels of death that are subordinate to Azrael. In hadiths and their exegesis, according to Muslim tradition, 40 days before a person's death, God drops a leaf from a tree under the heavenly throne, on which Azrael reads the name of the person he is to take with him. Al-Qurtubi shares a comment from the classical scholar Ibn Ja'far that Azrael is blue in color and has many eyes in many places. According to Ikrimah Mawla ibn Abbas, another scholar, Azrael's size was so enormous that if the earth were placed on his shoulder, it would be like a bean in an open field. He had 4,000 wings, which consisted of two types, wings of grace and wings of punishment. The wings of punishment are made of iron rods, hooks, and scissors. The angel possessed 70,000 legs. Umar ibn Abd al-Aziz, a caliph of the Umayyad dynasty, shared an account that the angel of death was armed with a flaming whip. It's so huge it looks like the throne bearers, a group of angels known as the largest of angels. The Islamic Book of the Dead describes him with 4 faces, and his entire body consists of eyes and tongues, the number of which corresponds to the number of people inhabiting the earth. A connection between Azrael and death. According to some scholars, Azrael and death are one, others believe that Azrael and death are different entities, with death being more of a tool used by Azrael to take life. A narrative originating from Muqatil ibn Sulayman sheds a little more light on death and its connection with Azrael. There it is said that the angel and death are one, for the angel is said to have as many faces and hands on his body as there are living beings. Each of these faces and hands is associated with the life of every soul in the living world. When any face of Azrael's body disappears, then the soul that is connected to it will experience death. There is also a related interpretation here by several groups of modern Islamic scholars from Imam Muhammad ibn Saud. The Islamic University has issued a fatwa that takes the interpretation of Ibn Kathir regarding the Quran chapter Al-An'am verse 61 and a hadith narrated by Abu Huraira and Ibn Abbas, the angel of death has subordinate angels who help him take souls. The 8th Umayyad Caliph Umar ibn Abd al-Aziz said of Azrael in the Quran chapter As-Sajdah verse 11 Quran 32:11 that the taking of many lives is very easy for the angel, and that in the words of the Caliph, it is as if all mankind on earth were a mere dish on his plate, from the angel of death's point of view. In folklore, Azrael is an angel who has a colossal involvement in people's daily existence. According to one popular belief, the lesser angels of death are for ordinary people, while saints and prophets meet the archangel of death himself. Great prophets such as Moses and Muhammad were politely invited by him, but saints are also said to meet Azrael. It is said that when Rumi was about to die, he lay down in his bed and met Azrael in human form. The belief has to do with the angel appearing to the saints before they die to prepare them for death. We also find confirmation of this in Nazir Khusraw's will, in which he claims to have met Azrael in his sleep and informed him of his impending demise. Sam'al. Sam'al translates as the poison of God. He is a figure who is an accuser, an adversary, a seducer, and a destroyer. Many of his functions match the Christian image of Satan, so much so that he is sometimes identified as a fallen angel. However, it is accepted that ultimately his actions also lead to good, such as the destruction of sinners, as far as that can be called a good thing. In Midrashic texts, he is portrayed as a member of the heavenly host with dark and destructive duties. One of Sam'al's most significant roles in Jewish law is that of the archangel of death and head of the Satans. However, he remains one of God's servants. He appears frequently in the story of the Garden of Eden and inspired the fall of Adam and Eve with the serpent in writings from the Second Temple period. However, the serpent does not represent the form of Sam'al, but a beast that he rides. A version is also presented in a narrative that he is the father of Cain, as well as the partner of Lilith. In early Talmudic and Midrashic literature, he is not yet identified with Satan. Only in the later Midrash is he presented as the head of all Satans. As the guardian angel and prince of Rome, he is the sworn enemy of Israel. Towards the beginning of Jewish culture in Europe, Sam'al was established as a representative of Christianity due to his identification with Rome. In some Gnostic cosmologies, Sam'al's role as the source of evil is identified with Demiurge, the creator of the material world. Although both accounts probably derive from the same source, the Gnostic development differs from the Jewish account of Sam'al, in which he is simply an angel and servant of God. We trace the image in Judaism. Sam'al is first mentioned during the Second Temple period and immediately after its destruction. He is first mentioned in the Book of Enoch along with other rebellious angels. In Enoch 1 he is one of the watchers who descend to earth to mate with human women. A detailed video about the Book of Enoch and the fallen angels can be found on our channel. In the Greek Apocalypse of Baruch, Sam'al is the dominant evil figure. He plants the tree of knowledge, after which he is banished and cursed by God. To get revenge, he tempts Adam and Eve to sin. Here, unlike in the Midrashic texts, he takes the form of a serpent. He also appears as the embodiment of evil in Isaiah's ascension, often re-identified as the serpent. In Talmudic Midrashistic literature, the role of Sam'al as a conduit of evil is rather marginal, but from the 5th or 6th century onwards this name again becomes one of the most significant among demonic entities. In Exodus, the servant Sam'al is presented as the accuser in the heavenly court and the tempter to sin, while Michael defends the actions of Israel. Here Sam'al is identified with Satan because of the role of accuser. He also fulfills the role of the angel of death, coming to take the soul of Moses, and is called the leader of the Satanists. The title Satan is also given to him in the Midrash Perk de Rabbi Eliezer, where he is the leader of the fallen angels and 12-winged seraphim. According to scripture, Sam'al opposes the creation of Adam and descends to earth to tempt him into evil. Riding the serpent, he persuades Eve to eat the forbidden fruit. Kabbalah. In the Kabbalah, A.E. Waite, 255, Sam'al is described as the severity of God and is listed as the 5th of the archangels of the Bria world. Under his patronage is Esau, the men who are inherent in the sword and war, the goats, the serim, demons, and the destroying angels. Although Sam'al and Lilith are major demons in earlier Jewish traditions, they do not appear as a couple until the second half of the 13th century, when they are represented together. Lilith is a demon created with Adam. She was originally created for the role Eve will play. But after the appearance of Eve, she became the wife of Samael. Together with her, he creates many demonic children. In the Kabbalistic work Treatise on the Left Emanation, Samael is part of the Qliphoth, prince of all demons and consort of Lilith. The two are said to be parallels of Adam and Eve, emanating together from the throne of glory as a counterpart. According to the treatise, God castrated Samael so that he would not fill the world with demonic offspring, and this became the reason for Lilith's watch to fornicate with men. Another tradition. According to the apocryphal Gegilat Moshe, Apocalypse of Moses, the ascension of Moses, Samael is mentioned as being in the seventh heaven. In the last heaven, Moses saw two angels, each 500 parasangs high, forged from chains of black and red fire, the angels Af and Hema, Roth, which God created at the beginning of the world to do his will. Moses was troubled when he looked at them, but Metatron embraced him and said, Moses, Moses, beloved of God, do not be afraid and do not be dismayed, and Moses calmed down. In the seventh heaven, there was another angel, different in appearance from all the others. He had a terrible countenance. His height was so great that it would take 500 years to walk a distance equal to him. And from the top of his head to the soles of his feet, he was showered with shining eyes. This, said Metatron, turning to Moses, is Samael, who takes away the soul of man. Where is he going now? Asked Moses, and Metatron answered, to take the soul of the pious Job. Then Moses prayed to God with the following words. Oh, may it be your will, my God and the God of my fathers, that you do not let me fall into the hands of this angel. To these angels ultimately fell the most unpleasant task. As the saying goes, it's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it. Perhaps the fact that they are the end of everything earthly for us makes them the scariest thing a person will ever face. Write us in a comment, did you find the topic interesting? Do you want to know more about the story of the angel Satanael, better known later as Satan? Or about Belial, who in the Dead Sea Scrolls is described as the complete opposite of God and the leader of the sons of darkness? Or perhaps you have an interest in deities from other cultures and mythologies? Share with us in a comment. More interesting knowledge you can find in our channel. Don't forget to support us by sharing this video and subscribing to the channel.